Back and welcome to video 88 in my ACS vanilla series, where I'm showing you guys how to get through pretty much everything in the game. And in this series, or this part of the series, I'm currently working on my Shendao disciples, and in the last video I showed you guys how to reach the empty stage, which is the second through to last breakthrough point for Shendao disciples in terms of their mental state breakthroughs. And now I'm going to show you guys how to get through this final breakthrough point and then enter the spirit stage. So the first thing that you want to do when you enter this empty stage is you want to go back down to the still stage so that you can increase your mental state. So right now, because we're in the empty stage, we now have a maximum mental state of 600, and we do have talismans equipped right now, so we're currently at 445 mental state. And that's because we also have 2 obsessions, which are reducing our mental state by 60. So we really could have a mental state of 550. So let me first remove my talismans from my Shendao disciples to paint a more accurate picture of what it should look like. And besides that, I do need to unequip the talismans anyways if I want to get to the still stage, which requires the Shendao disciple to have 200 to 300 mental state. And then I'll show you guys how to reduce that mental state, which will be pretty nice since I haven't showed you guys how to do that since video 85, I believe, or 86. So now that we have the talismans unequipped, my Shendao has 445 mental state, which is the cap, but I don't have the cap, the message that's telling me that it's the cap right now, because in my last breakthrough I lost about, like, I don't know, 0.5 mental state during the breakthrough time. But anyways, we have 445 mental state, and we want to have naturally 600 mental state, but we do have 2 obsessions, so naturally 545 mental state, and that's the goal. So the first thing we want to do is go all the way down to the still stage, and to do that we'll have to use the branch leader debuff and the sect leader debuff. So I'm going to start this off with Shendao 1, and then I'm going to do this with the rest of my disciples. So if I go into sect structure, I have the big cultivation branch that has all of the disciples that are in the sect, and I can actually assign this to Shendao 1. And as you can see, Shendao 1 is a mediocre branch leader, so they will get a debuff that's going to reduce their mental state. But actually I just realized that my guys still have the mind fasting or buff right now, meaning that their mental state cannot be changed. So let me actually start a mind fasting on my disciples and then stop the mind fasting so that I can eliminate the buff. Because if mind fasting is interrupted, then you will lose the buff. So let's first turn all of my guys on to mind fasting. Shendao 3 mind fast, Shendao 4 mind fast, Shendao 5 mind fast, and then Shendao 6 mind fast. And then I'm going to let my game run a little bit so that these guys can start mind fasting, and then I'm going to interrupt it. Okay, now it looks like all of my disciples are now mind fasting, so I'm just going to cancel this before they can get their 100 stacks. And now they do not have the mind fasting buff anymore. So this guy even has 439 mental state. Alright. Okay, now that they don't have the mind fasting buff, I'll assign this branch to Shendao 1. And now they just lost 68 mental state because they got 60 or 69 stacks of the distressed branch leader debuff. So they lost 69 mental state. So we're now at 376 mental state. So now I also want to reduce their mental state by adding more branch members. But if you don't have a lot of branch members, so for example you were playing the game on a higher difficulty, then you wouldn't have this many branch members, then you have to start to use the sect leader debuff, but I don't need to use it right now, so I'm just going to keep using the branch leader debuff for now. So we're now at 368 mental state, and now it's time for us to switch over to using this sect leader debuff. So now they have the sect leader debuff, and they're at 320 mental state. So this distressed sect leader debuff only has 17 stacks. However, each stack reduces mental state by 2 per stack. So right now, the way I'm looking at it is that we have 91 stacks of distressed branch leader debuff, and we have 320 mental state, right? So I'm thinking that if I actually just cancel the distressed branch leader debuff, then I'll be fine, because they both will have the tired debuff. But I do need to do this for multiple Shendao. So if I was just doing this for one Shendao, then I would actually remove them as a branch leader, and then they will have the tired debuff, and then I will put them on as a branch leader again, so that they can get 91 more stacks, and then that will reduce their mental state to 210. However, because I'm working with multiple Shendao at once, I can't make it so that they all have the distressed and the tired debuff right now. So what I'm going to do is make them I will make their sect leader debuff worse by making more branches. Oh, it looks like my branches were removed, because I remember I had, or at least I thought I had more branches than that. So let me create some more branches so that I can start piling on that other debuff. And then for these branches, you can really just put anything. The only thing that matters is that any disciple is assigned a leader of these branches, and then that will make the sect leader stressed out, just because there are quote unquote a lot of branches. So I'm just going to assign this random disciple, and as you can see, they now have 23 stats for this distressed sect leader debuff, and I need them to have, I guess, around they have 312 mental state, and this is reducing their mental state by 2 each, and I guess I will want them to have around 200 mental state. So I need to remove 112 more mental state. So if you divide that by 2, then you have 56. So I would like for them to have around 79 of these stacks right here. So I'm just going to keep going until they have 79 stacks. And then I don't know why, but this UI is definitely not accurate. I'm just looking at the stack. So right now I have 41, and I just know that I need 79. I don't know why I named that 4. That should be named 7. I'm just going to make 15 of them. Let's make them all in chronological order. And now let's try to assign Jing as the leader for these locations. First, choose an expertise for your branch. Okay. I forgot about that step. So yeah, they can really just be anything. Battle, artifact crafting, alchemy. So what are we on? We're on the 7th branch. So they have 47 stacks. Now we're at 53, so it's getting worse. 59, 65, perfect. And again, I said that I wanted like around like 79, so let me stop at 77 just to see where we're at. Okay, so we're at 204. So yeah, we would want 79, but I think one more would take us past 79. So now this guy has the distressed branch leader debuff, and they have the distressed sect leader debuff, and it's perfectly enough so that they're in the still stage, and now they're gaining 30 mental state per day. So within 3 days I will have gained 100 base mental state, which is everything that I want. because I want them to have a bonus of like 100 mental state. So I'm gonna let this run because I do know that if I cancel them as the sect leader and the branch leader, they will get the tired debuff, which will be enough. However, I have observed that sometimes when I do it too early, it doesn't work like that. So I just want to let the game run just for a little bit. So I guess I would let it run for like 2 hours. I don't know. Maybe I was overlooking something, but I'm just too lazy to just know for sure what's making it so that they don't get a tired debuff. So Shendao 1, let me remove them as the sect leader. Or let's change this to Shendao 2 and hope that Shendao 1 gets the tired debuff. Let's see, Shendao 1 didn't get the tired debuff, so let's bring this back to Shendao 1. And make sure that they get that tired debuff. Let's try to remove them as a branch leader first. So I did get that tired debuff from the branch leader. And now let's try to remove them as the sect leader now to see if there's some weird order that I need to do it in. Nope. Okay, I guess I'll just keep them like this. But there was a time where I had them as having both tired debuffs. So their base divinity right now is 45. I wonder why is that. Oh, because this is the one that I used the resurrection miracle on. Okay. So right now they just have the tired debuff, and then they have the distract sect leader debuff. I wish that I can get the tired as a sect leader debuff as well. So why did Mao 2 flop unconscious? Okay, they're injured. Let's feed them Panacea pill. And that's so weird though, because Mao 1 has the tired sect leader debuff as well. So let's try to swap this over to Mao 1 and then see what happens. No. No, I need to figure this out because I don't want to have to wait 3 days for each disciple. So I'll make Shendao 1 the sect leader, but I won't have them as the branch leader, right? So they have the... Let me first remove their entire branch leader debuff. And if you want to remove that, you just put them in a different branch to like overcome it. Let's see. Or at least I thought that's what it would do. Alright, so it looks like the only way to remove the tired debuff is to go out and adventure, but you could remove the distress debuff by assigning them to a different branch. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out right here. So right now they have the tired debuff and they have the distress sect leader debuff. I want them to keep the distress sect leader debuff. So let's assign this to Shendao 1. So now they just have the tired debuff and the distressed branch leader debuff, which is not what I want. I guess I'll just have to do them all one at a time then, since I'm not figuring this out right now and I'm too like just unmotivated. So if I change it to this guy, yeah, this guy doesn't even have the tired debuff. I wonder if it's because this guy already has the tired sect leader debuff, but I don't know. That doesn't really make too much sense for me. Okay, so now Shendao 1 has the tired debuff, distress sect leader debuff, and then they have the distress branch leader debuff. And this is too much for them, so let's just move this over to Shendao 2 and wait for Shendao 1 to get their maximum mental state. So for Shendao 2, is there anything else that I can do for them? No. Alright, so I think this is the point where I do a time skip again because I don't want to waste your guys' time. But yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to be balancing out these branch leader and sect leader debuffs in order to until my Shendao get their maximum mental state. And I guess I can show you guys what it would look like at least on one disciple. And then I'll do the time skip as I do this for all sister disciples, since I can't figure out how to have the sect leader debuff and have the sect leader debuff make my disciple have the tyrant debuff. And I'm assuming it's because it can only be on one disciple or something like that, but I don't know. I feel like it was on more than one disciples in the last time I tried to do it, so maybe there's just a weird order. But you know, I'll just take what I can get. So right now their mental state is at 247, so after about 2 days their mental state will go up and be it will go up to 300 eventually, or wherever it can cap out at. 251. I'm just gonna run this game on super speed, swift mode. And then if I want to, I can make them the branch leader again if I need to even gain even more mental state. And this only works because these are temporary reduces in mental state, which allow me to get back to the still stage. I will be able to reduce them by going off map and waiting until the tyrant debuff right here expires. And this one right here is 49 days, so that's going to be a long time. So let's see, where's our mental state at now? 287. I should be good to make them the branch leader again, just to reduce their mental state by more, because I do want to cap it out. So there is 71 divinity, 210 mental state now. They should be capping out like really soon. Okay, so their mental state is capped out, and I'm assuming that they're at 545 mental state now. So I'm just going to put them on balance and then remove them as the branch leader and the sect leader. So let's do this now on Shendao 2. So let me just double check this. Oh, as you can see, now they have the debuff. So they have the tyrant debuff for the sect leader, and now they have the tyrant debuff for the branch leader. So it must be like a certain amount of days that you have to wait. Let me just see if I can also do this for Shendao 2. So Shendao 2 right now has too many debuffs, which is good. So I'll remove them as the branch leader and then just move this over to Shendao 3. So where's Shendao 2 at now? They're 197. That means I need to remove 2 stacks of this to add 4 more. So I'll unassign 2 branches so that the sect leader debuff isn't too powerful. So now they're at the still stage. But they're at 221, which is a little bit too close. So let's add a little bit more. 209, I'll take that. So they have the tyrant branch leader debuff and they have this distress sect leader debuff. I'm gonna let my game run for a little bit longer. I feel like it may have some sort of requirement where it's like, I don't know, like more than a day or something like that. So I'll wait until this changes. But I mean, I really only need, no, I would need 3 days. So I guess it'll save me 3 days per disciple. Okay. I have some invaders. Let's see. I have this distress sect leader debuff. We're gaining how much mental state per day? 29.9. Pretty good amount. Alright, so I think a good amount of time has went by. So let's see what happens if I now remove them as the sect leader. and make Shendao 3 the sect leader. Oh nice, they retained it. Ah, so it is based on time. So now they have enough of both of the debuffs, and then I can reassign them as the branch leader once they are like almost at 300 mental state until they cap out. So now we can do this on screen. I don't have to do a time scan because there's actually things for you to see. So now I have the distress sect leader and the distress branch leader debuff on Shendao 3. However, Shendao 3 is still at 222 mental state, so I do need to add 10 more stacks of sect leader, or 5 more stacks of, no, 10 more stacks actually, because I want to reduce it by 20 stacks of the sect leader debuff. So where are we at now? We're at 210. If I can just get 5 more stacks from this one. Oh, I got a little bit more, 198. So if I want to just balance this out, then I could just add a an item that will increase their mental state by a little bit. So I'll just use this sat sheet right here for Shendao 3. That's the one that we're working on right now. And right now it's 12:20, so I just want to remember this so that I know how much time I need to wait. So day 54 at like 12 o'clock, I'll stop the sect leader and branch leader buff and hope that they get both of the tyrant debuffs. Okay, so it's the next day. We're at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Still gaining mental state at a pretty good rate. Let's see what Shendao 2 is looking like. Okay. They're still gaining mental state as well. Only 2 more hours for me to hopefully at least confirm that like 1 day is enough. So now it's 12:30, so it's been a day. So now I'm gonna move this sect leader. Let's do the branch leader first. So I'll move the branch leader over, so they got the tire debuff from that, and then I'll move the sect leader over, and they got the tire debuff from that. Okay, so that works. So I know it definitely 1 day works, so I guess I can try with like 12 hours with this guy now. This guy's in the same situation where they're at 198, so instead of moving that item over, it's probably best for me to simply remove one of these branches. Alright, so Shendao 4 is at 211 mental state. And I started them at 12 o'clock, so let me just try to change them over when the day changes. So that would be like 12 hours instead of 24 hours. This guy is about to face a tribulation. Let's see, do I have any pills that I can feed them? I could feed them a marrow pill even though they have 80% resistance to it. So I actually messed up with this disciple because they don't have that much stamina. So they cannot always be cultivating, which is annoying. Let's see. If I just go to different pills. Okay, I'm only on earth pills. So yeah, that's another thing. Like, if you don't make sure your demigods have enough stamina, then they'll mess up and like just burn all of their stamina. So let me see. How many days does this guy have left? Okay, so I got them 10 days, but I do need to give them some stamina. So do I have some spirit dew? I don't even think this is enough. But if I have like red ginseng, then that would be the best option. I have 184. That's not really enough though. It only I'll just wait and just continue to focus on these Shendao disciples. So again, I waited 24 hours on the last Shendao, so I'm just gonna wait 12 hours for this one. So I'll pretty much just wait until the next day changes, and hopefully they'll retain the tired sect leader debuff. Okay, so 24 hours has went by and the debuff has refreshed, so that's kind of what makes me think that I would just need to wait until the next day because the debuff is refreshing every day. So now let's go to Shendao 4 and then remove them as a branch leader and then remove them as a sect leader. So let's give this to Shendao 5 and then let's give this to Shendao 5. Okay, so that worked. Nice. So I think it's not even like a timer thing. You just have to make sure that the next day goes by. And I can double check that by swapping this guy over to Shendao 6 at 12 hours. Then we would know if it was because a day went by and the buff refreshed, or if it was because more than a certain amount of hours went by, which is at the very least 12 hours, because we confirmed that with 12 hours earlier. So even 13 hours just went by. So let's go to Shendao 6 instead. So Shendao 5 didn't get the tire debuff, so that's definitely not the case. So it's just based on like when the day swaps. So the best time to swap would just be before the next day starts up. So Shendao 2, Shendao 3, Shendao 4 is getting mental state. So if you have like 6 Shendaos, then it would take you 6 days to do this basically, and then one more extra day to make up for like the overcap mental state that you would need, because I was only able to overcap on Shendao 1. So now I think I fully understand it. Pretty much, if you want to make sure that you can get the tire debuff, you just have to wait until the next day. So if I give this to Shendao 6, then they have the tire debuff, and it doesn't even matter the order. So now they have 2 of the tire debuffs instead, and then I can load on 2 of those branch leader debuffs if I wanted to as well. So now Shendao 6 is doing the breakthrough, and I need to remove 1 more branch. So now we're at what, 212 mental state. So this is perfect. My guys are easily reaching that 600 base mental state threshold. So now it's time to work on the guys who have capped out but haven't reached the threshold. So this guy's capped out and they're good, so I think I should put them on balance. And then Shendao 3, you're not capped out yet, so it's just going to take time for these guys to max out their mental state. So let's see, where's Shendao 3 at? They're at 273 mental state, which means that I was effectively able to add 73 more mental state to them temporarily, or by reducing their mental state temporarily. Everything is awakening and I'm just getting a lot of stuff. I don't even care about this stuff because I'm just so rich at this point. And these invaders know that I'm rich. I can revive disciples. Like, what do you want from me? And then if I wanted to continuously increase my output from these agencies, I would just keep using that miracle on my Shendao. I think Mount South still has the Shendao assigned to them. Oh, I must have removed it just to make sure that I didn't have too much belief on my Shendao. But yeah, I could still use Shendao 1. Oh, I removed the guard as well. Well, that was in the last video. That's even besides the point. But yeah, I could just have like one of my Shendaos just continuously use that miracle if I wanted to maximize my output. I guess I can just show how that looks like, because I did say that I would show what those values would be in the last video. So I'll just create these Shendao statues right here. And this one is not even level 2. Ooh, I'm really messing up. I need 5,000 more population in that area. I am bad for that one. And I have a statue here. And then Riverback City doesn't have a statue any either, so I should have just been upgraded that one. And then what's up with this one? Okay, this is already level 2. So all of my agencies besides 2 of them are at least level 2. So these guys are good. This guy is still increasing their mental state, so I'm just going to keep looking at the latest Shendao. Should be Shendao 3, since that was the last one, or the next earliest one. Now we're on Shendao 4. Everyone's going in order. Shendao 4 does have some temporary mental state buffs, and the mental state gain here is based on the Shendao's distress, I believe. Yeah, so a lower distress means a faster rate. So let me use wise detachment on this guy. Shendao 4. So now they're gaining 33 mental state per day, which is much better. We're at 272. And of course Shendao 3 should be on balance now. $280. These other guys are chilling along. They're closer than the other ones were because it was like I was able to figure out like way quicker. I figured out the formula. Shendao 4 is getting there almost. 294 mental state. Not a beast attack. I'll just use this guy, this gal, and this doggy. Doge. Okay. A lot of things happening. This guy's at 298, so I may need to reduce their mental state a little bit more. Oh, they were able to get there perfectly at 300. So let's see, Shendao 5. What's this mental state gain? 21 per day, and this guy is at 26 per day. So it looks like I need to wise detachment these two. So let's do a wise detachment. So now they're at 33 per day and 30 per day. So they will be done in like 200 more seconds, which is 1/3 of a day. $293. Oh, they need to choose a policy. Let's do charity. And while we're doing that, I can now show you guys what it looks like if you were to utilize a Shendao and like maximize your agencies. So I guess I'll just use Shendao 1 just because I'm already doing everything with Shendao 1. So you definitely need as many Temple of Miracles as you would use for as many agencies as you would attach to the Shendao disciple. And it looks like the limit is 9, so you can do this with 9 agencies at once. So as you can see, I cannot add any more Temple of Miracles. And now that I have 9 Temple of Miracles, I can assign my Shendao to 9 different agencies. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. This was the second agency. Oh, this one doesn't have a temple. I wonder what happened to that progress, because I definitely pressed that button. Or at least I thought I did. Maybe I was just looking at it. I'm just going to keep going until I get a message that says that I can't. 4. Let's see what Great Desert looks like. Seat of Desolation. 5. I did Central Plain already. Let's see. Okay, so now that they're attached to all of these agencies, they're also gaining belief at a ridiculous rate. But they also have a hatred tribulation for some reason. Why is there controllable population? Oh. Ooh. I may have I forgot about that. Yeah, so because we're in a still stage, we only have a controllable population of 100,000, and we currently have 201,000 disciples that are in these buildings, just because we need 201,000 disciples to be able to use all of these temples. So what's happening right now is that my disciples in my divine realm are starting to hate me, and I have a 78% hatred tribulation. So what that means is once this gets to 100, I'll have to face a tribulation unless I increase my mental state by some more. So let me actually fix this problem by equipping the divinity or the divine comprehension talisman on this guy, so that the hatred doesn't go up anymore. And as you can see, the hatred is no longer accumulating. So let me check that with all of my Shendao disciple attributes now. So ooh, that was close. So these guys have all reached the limit of their mental state, so I will equip these talismans since they are accumulating hatred. I'm glad that I was able to get through that, because now I know to add that as something. Like, make sure you do this before you gain 100% hatred. I believe Shendao 5 was able to get there. Let's see, Shendao 6, where are you at? So let's see, where is Shendao 5 in terms of their hatred tribulation? They're at 27%, and then Shendao 6 is at 22%. So I'm going to actually give Shendao 5 the distress branch leader again, so that they can reduce their mental state even more, so we can get this to this max. Anyways, back to what I was looking at before is I wanted to show you guys what it would look like with pretty much as many agencies as I could, for me to have the Shendao use the miracle that increases agency output. I believe it's the Hall of Rallying. Then if I increase that to level 3, then I use that one, the Soul Reverence spell. Then based on all of the agencies that my Shendao have, I will have an increased output. As you can see, I'm now outputting ridiculous amounts, because my Shendao is equipped to so many different agencies. So I'm generating 635 influence per day. So yeah, that's just beautiful. And you know, I guess that's pretty much all I wanted to do with that. So now I can move forward and have Shendao 1 not do that anymore. So let me actually go into this divine realm and remove all of these temple of miracles. And then besides that, I'm pretty much just waiting. I meant to stop it, I guess. Let's see, stop, demolish. I do want to have one temple of miracles, but let me have that stop. And that just turns it off for the time being. Alright, so back to Shendao 5. Shendao 5 is getting their mental state up. Where Shendao 6 at? So what's debuff do they have? They have the sect leader debuff, so let me just make this worse by creating more agency or more branches. I think that they're very close to being at max, so I shouldn't need too much. Come on, Shendao 5, max out that mental state. Max out that mental state. Let's use wise detachment to speed this up. Okay, so Shendao 5 is maxed out. And let's see. We're at 30% on the hatred tribulation. So I'm just going to equip as many talismans as I can to bring their mental state up, so that they can control 200,000. So that's another reason why you would want to increase their controllable population, or you want to stay like closer to 200,000. So I guess I did mess up by creating 20 divine residences. If I knew about this, then I would recommend you create 19 at the most, just because right now I only need 122,000. So if I just created 19, then I could quickly go back to the next stage after the still stage to make sure that they have under 200,000 population, because right now they are seriously nerfed, and I don't even know if I'll be able to go up to have enough mental state to not have to face the tribulation. So let's see. So yeah, my only option would be to increase their mental state. Alright, so to increase these guys' mental state, I'll just create a branch area just for a little bit. But let's see. I do want to prevent these guys from losing so much mental state. So generation 2 is still the cultivation branch leader. So I'll just put Shendao 1, 2, 3, 4 and Shendao 5 in that branch so that they don't accumulate any more of that hatred. Oh, Shendao 5 is the sect leaders, or they already are a branch leader, so they can't do that right now. But they already reached the maximum, so they don't need to be the branch leader anymore. So let's remove them as a branch leader and then make them the branch member, and then let me create this branch area just for these first 5 guys. I believe it's the first one. Yep. So now their mental state should be increased drastically so that they have a controllable population cap increase. So now I just have to worry about this guy, Shendao 6. So let me just try to make Shendao, instead of making them the branch leader, I'll just continue to make their sect leader debuff first, so that I'm not at a point where they have a super high tyrant debuff. Come on, Shendao 6, you got this. Okay, so now Shendao 6 is maxed out. So I will now remove Shendao 6 as the sect leader. Move that back to my 1. And then no one is the branch leader over here, but I'll move my Shendaos back to this branch right here. Then I'll move this back to generation 2 turtle. And then I'll reassign generation 2 turtle to this branch so that they don't have a distress debuff. So now all of my Shendaos are pretty much good, and there's just one Shendao that has super low mental state to the point where even equipping talismans will make them accumulate hatred tribulation. So I just need to double check all of my Shendaos to make sure that that they're not accumulating hatred tribulation. So if I go to Shendao 1, they're in the stagely breakthrough, and they have a controllable population of, so they have 201,000 population, but their controllable is 200,000. So this just give me a warning right now, whereas before I had 169,000 out of my controllable population of 100,000. So I'm not getting hatred tribulation experience for this guy. So this guy is good. Alright, let's see what Shendao 2 is doing. Shendao 2 was fine all around. They only have 125,000, and then they're at 500,000 population. Shendao 3, they're not accumulating any ESP as well. It's just giving me that warning as well. And then Shendao 4, they just have a warning. Shendao 5, they just have a warning. And then Shendao 6. Let's see. I want to find the one that my game wants to save. Alright, so they just have the warning. Okay, so all of them just have a warning now because I was able to equip those talismans. So now that we are done maxing out all of my Shendao's mental state, you know what time it is. It's time for me to go to Mount Coppertomb and sit there for 13 days to remove this tyrant debuff. But first I'm going to make a save scum, and then I'm going to do that. Just because, you know, I always like to have a save scum. So this is day 560, so that took me 10 days. So 560, remove tyrant debuff. And then we're at the empty stage, so I'm just going to make this really long file name, which will be super useful for me. Alright, so now that we're back, I can send my disciples to Mount Coppertomb. Oh, I already sent them to Mount Coppertomb, I think. Okay, balance. Let's put these guys on balance first. Now let's try to send them to Mount Coppertomb. Okay, so I just clicked enter instead of camp, so that's what went wrong. Cooling competition. They're like, before you go off map, here's a million pop-ups, because we know that you cannot get pop-ups on map. Okay, this guy needs a panacea pill. This one right here is missing health, so I'm assuming they need a panacea pill. And my shendaos are now all at Mount Coppertomb. So let's do this. Alright, so now that my Shendao are at Mount Coppertomb, I just need to wait like 8 days for my Shendaos to lose this debuff. But I think it's up to 14 days. Oh, this guy has a 48-day tire debuff. I messed up on them. Let's see. This one has a 9-day. Alright, so I actually need to go back because I messed up on some of these Shendao's tire debuff. I actually need to turn the debuff back on and then off so that they only have like a 14-day debuff and not a 49-day debuff. So I think that's just depending on how long that they were the leaders. So I'm going to bring these Shendaos back and then try to start that up again. Alright, so Shendao 1 has a 3-day debuff and a 6-day debuff, which is perfect. Shendao 2 has a 43-day branch leader debuff. So let me assign Shendao 2 as the branch leader. And then let's try to unassign them as the branch leader. Put this guy as the branch leader. Okay, so Shendao 2 now has a 5-day debuff and a 7-day debuff, so that worked. So Shendao 3 has a 48 debuff and a 8-day debuff. So this is the branch leader debuff as well. So let's try to make Shendao 3 the branch leader and then change them. So now this is a 48-day debuff still. So let me actually, I don't think I like let the game run in between that. So let's change them like this. Let the game run a little bit. And then remove them as the leader. And see where it goes. Still 48 days, huh? That's interesting. Let's try to fix this again. We're just going to keep going until something works, honestly. Maybe if I wait until the next day, then that would allow them to have that debuff reduced. We have the strange little elf, so let's go use a firecracker really quickly. What the heck is that? There's so much red on my map. Let's see. Open this up. Like, what are these animals? How is Hadron just chilling with all of these animals around here? Just gonna send multiple disciples to attack these guys. Alright, let's let the game run a little bit more. I kind of want to wait until the day refreshes, just because maybe that will refresh the debuff. So Shendao 3, let's remove them. Okay, so we have 7 days and 7 days. Perfect. Okay, now Shendao 4, 8 days and 8 days. Shendao 5, 9 days, 9 days, and then Shendao 6 is 12 days and then 12 days. I can do that. 12 days and 12 days. Okay, so I think my Shendaos are good now that I've effectively reduced their debuff. So let's send them over. I just didn't want to wait for 40 days. Like 14 days is cool, but 40 days is kind of crazy. So I'm like, let me try to double back and see what I can do to fix this. So that is insane. Alright, so now we're off map and my Shendaos are on balance. And it looks like based on the mental stage that they're on, they're actually losing mental state while on balance. Which, I mean, I guess is fine. Their base divinity is pretty high, so let's see. Yeah, I don't want this guy reaching 100, but I'll put these guys on restrained. I think it would be okay if I put the guys on restraint for 14 days. But I'll definitely be watching the first guy since they have more divinity than the others. But everyone pretty much just has to wait 13 days for this debuff to expire. Or both of these debuff for each of them. See, this guy's at 6 days. Got 5 days and 2 days. So yeah, I'm just gonna let my game run and then do a time skip, and I'll let you guys know, or I'll start this video back up again once my disciples are done losing this debuff. Alright, I'm back, and now all of my Shendao except for Shendao 6 are done with this breakthrough, but Shendao 6 only has about 1 day or 1.4 days left over, so I decided to come back at this point. So now, as you can see, my Shendaos are now pretty much at 545 base mental state, and this guy right here is at 594 because they have some mental state talismans equipped that I equipped earlier to avoid the hatred tribulation. But besides that, they all are around 545 base mental state. So now I'm going to read what I need to do the final breakthrough. So for the final breakthrough, you just have to keep your mental state at 600, which will be easy because I will have talismans equipped. And then you have to have your cultivator on indulgence for a certain amount of days. So this breakthrough is a little bit hard because while your cultivator is on indulgence, their mental state goes down by a significant amount per day, but it's not so significant. So I guess I would say like a moderate amount per day, because you can still have enough talismans to overpower that depending on how good your luck is. So if the mental state that you lose on this breakthrough is dependent on the Shendao's distress. So it's kind of similar to the still state breakthrough, but it's way less powerful than the still stage breakthrough. So when the Shendao is off map, they will also accumulate a lot of distress. So I would say like around 4 is about like the peak value in terms of how much mental state they would lose per day. So for this guy, because they have a 24-day breakthrough and they're losing 4 mental state per day, then that means I would need to have like around 90 overcap mental state. So let's see if I pull up a calculator, and then 90 is pretty like generous because the mental state per day that they lose increases over time and is not consistently at 4.46. So if we do 4.46 multiplied by 24.8, then that means I need to have 110 extra mental state. So I need to have like basically a base mental state of 710. So the way that you can combat or to get through this breakthrough is to pretty much overcap your mental state so that you will never go below 600, and then you also want to increase your luck so that the amount of time it takes to do this breakthrough is drastically reduced, because it's 100 divided by your luck squared, I believe. Oh no, it's just 100 divided by your luck, not your luck squared. Otherwise it wouldn't be like 24 days long. So now that Shendao 6 is done, so let's just look at all of my Shendaos and see what time or how many days it takes for these guys to break through depending on their luck. So Shendao 1 has a 24-day breakthrough. Shendao 2 has an 18.6 day breakthrough. Shendao 4 or Shendao 3 has a 24-day breakthrough. Shendao 4 has a 24-day breakthrough. Shendao 5 has a 24-day breakthrough, and Shendao 6 has an 18-day breakthrough. So I'm just going to leave sect, and obviously what you would want to do for this is just to increase your Shendao's luck, or just increase all their stats in general. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to increase their luck and also just see how long I can take to do this breakthrough, basically. So if I remove this talisman from this guy, you'll see that my Shendao is now at 544 in mental state. That's because they're just losing mental state based on them not having really high distress or really low distress. So what I think I'm going to do right now is equip the talismans just to be able to calculate how much overcap mental state they will have. But firstly, I do want to consume a blessed pill, because if you know how many days the breakthrough will be, then you can actually go forward and consume like a pill that will increase their luck at the last second to just automatically complete the breakthrough. Right now I only have one blessed pill, so I want to go to Pit of Doom and then buy some blessed pills off of them for my Shendao disciples. I'm really late in my game, so I can definitely count on them having more than enough blessed pills. So I just need 12. I need one blessed pill to check how many days it would take, and then I would need another blessed pill in order to pretty much be able to use it during the breakthrough. I don't know why it took me so long to think about finishing that sentence. So anyways, I'm going to have all of my Shendao eat. Well, first I will firstly increase their stats by as much as possible, their luck. So let's look at my Shendao disciples and see what they have eaten. So these guys had Eternity Pill and a Bane Pill, but Bane Pill can still increase their stats by a significant amount. But the Bane Pill just loses lifespan. So let's see, what's their lifespan like? They have really high lifespan amount, so the Bane Pill is really not an issue. So I think it would be best for me to move forward and then also have these guys consume Bane Pills. And wow, I'm just running out of everything. I only have 4 Bane Pills. So let's see, is there a sect that sells Bane Pills? I believe it would be Pit of Doom as well. It's always Pit of Doom. Nope, let's try Excellent Sect. Loading. Oh, nice. I was right. I knew it was going to be one of the evil sect. So I think I have 4, so I just need to buy 2 Bane Pills. So I'm going to use the Bane Pills just because they have lower medical resistances, so I will be getting more for that. Apparently these guys don't like me. Oh, I need connection with the Excellent Sect to be able to even buy those. There's no way for me to get connection. So my only option is for me to dominate the sect or kill their sect elder in order to get connection. So that's pretty depressing. Alright, so I think I do have enough disciples with pretty low breakthrough timers, so I'll just feed these Bane Pills to the disciples that have the longer timers. So let's just start with Spectre refining them. Mouth 3, Mouth 2. So yeah, I would probably need to end up dominating that sect, but I just don't want to do that right now because that's going to interrupt everything. So now that I have 4 Bane Pills that are tier 12, I'll just go through my disciples and see which ones have the 24-day breakthroughs. So Shendao 1 for sure. Shendao 2 has 18. And then Shendao 3 has a 24-day breakthrough. Shendao 4 has 24 as well. Then Shendao 5 has a 24-day. Let's see what Shendao 6 has. They have an 18-day, so this is perfect. So now Shendao 5 can have this last one. I just needed 2 disciples with like a shorter breakthrough time. So now what are we looking at? Shendao 1 has a 23-day breakthrough. Wow. So I didn't even increase their luck by anything significant. So what does Shendao 1 have? They have 5 luck. So I guess around 5 luck would be better than 3 luck or 4 luck. So yeah, I think that I just pretty much have to deal with this 23-day breakthrough. So for that, I think that it would be better in my case for me to mind fast a little bit, just so that I know that my disciples will get like at least a 5-day head start basically. And you can't mind fast on indulgence, so that's definitely something that's out of the picture. So let me first like fully explain this breakthrough. So for this breakthrough, as you can see, your Shendao needs to be on indulgence for a long period of time, and if you have really low luck, then it's more than likely going to be around 25 days in order to get through this breakthrough. So the simple way to do this breakthrough is for you to simply mind fast for the full duration of this breakthrough, because the main problem with doing this breakthrough is that you have to be on indulgence, and while you're on indulgence, your mental state will go down faster than normal. So that means that your mental state will quickly become less than 600, which is required for the breakthrough. However, if you mind fast for 23 days, then that means that you can be on indulgence for 23 days without losing mental state, because the mind fasting buff makes it so that you do not lose mental state. But we have to mind fast for 23 days, and then this will also take you 23 days to do the breakthrough, because you cannot mind fast on indulgence, because I can show you like what that looks like. So if you do mind fasting and then you're also on indulgence on a disciple, then they will very quickly break the mind fast. So this guy right here is mind fasting on indulgence, and one of their bars should be going down. So I guess it's just their energy bar, their drink bar, like all of these bars are just going down, and they will just quickly start to break the mind fast. So let's just let this run for a little bit more. I'm trying to wonder, why is this disciple consistently being hurt? Let's go to my one, sorry, and make sure that everything is okay with them. Oh, they are a mental breakdown. Why do they have a mental break? Oh, because I gave them all of the debuffs. That makes sense now. Okay, I understand why they're being hurt. Anyways, this disciple is mind fasting, and they're mind fasting on indulgence, and as you can see, all of their bars are just going down. So they broke the mind fast because they went to eat. So you definitely cannot mind fast on indulgence. You can really only mind fast on balance, and even if you mind fast on balance, their leisure bar will go down. So you need that lasting joy talisman for that. So restraint is really the best thing to mind fast on. So that's pretty much why for this breakthrough, if you want to get through it, like the most simple way, you will have to mind fast on like balanced or restrained for this amount of time. So I'll have to mind fast for 23 days, and then I'll have to do the breakthrough over 23 days. So I'm pretty much using up like 40 days, or I guess you're using up 23 days, because you can do it off map. So you're still losing 23 days, right? So then if you don't want to do it that way, then the other way that you can do it is for you to do a mind fast for like, I don't know, I guess you can do a mind fast for like 10 days, and then just have your disciple do the breakthrough for like 10 days. And then the main problem with this breakthrough is that your Shendao disciple is consistently losing mental state. But if you do this breakthrough on your map area, then this becomes way less of a problem, because it's so easy to get done this breakthrough, because your mental state will be way above 600, because you have the branch leader, which you have access to the cultivation branch. So let me try to re-explain that, because that was just all over the place. So if you want to do this breakthrough the simple way, then you would do mind fasting for the amount of days that it takes for the breakthrough to do. So for this guy, I would mind fast for 23 days, and then I would be on indulgence. and because I mind fasted for 23 days, I can safely get through the breakthrough without worrying about losing mental state. And then you can also do this breakthrough on map for as many days as you need as well, if you assuming that you already have a really good cultivation branch area bonus, because if I have a cultivation branch area, then I can even overcap my mental state even more, so that I can make sure that my inclination doesn't ruin my mental state, even though inclination will still reduce the mental state because I'm not mind fasted. And then if you want to do this off map, then you just need to have way more mental state overcap, so that your inclination doesn't make it so that your mental state goes down below 600. But that's just harder off map because there's less ways that you can reduce your disciples distress off map. So what I'm going to try to do is more like of a hybrid version of this, in which I first do wise detachment and then I do mind fasting for like, I don't know, like 5 days, so that my Shendao can have like a 5-day head start for their mind fasting, and then that will make it so that they have around, I don't know, just 18 days to get through this breakthrough, right, instead of 23 days. So for example, in the math that I did earlier, I noticed that the Shendao was losing 4.46 mental state per day, and they had a 24-day breakthrough, right? So if I can just do a mind fast, then that means that I will only have to do this for 19 days instead, because my mental state won't go down for the first 5 days. And then besides that, I'll just equip as many talismans as I have, as I'm able to right now. So my required overcap should be lower. So my required overcap should be like, I don't know, like 19 days, so 19 times 4. So I would just really need like 76 overcap, which is achievable since I'm currently at 544 mental state, and I can add 150 mental state, which will bring me to like around 90 overcap basically. But the point is, you just want your overcap to be around like, I guess even 90 overcap, and you want the amount of mental state that you would lose to be less than 90 basically, based on the amount of days that you need to do the breakthrough. So the first thing I'm going to do is use wise detachment on my disciples. And this is the way that you would do it to pretty much do it the quickest in game. But the best way is probably for you to just mind fast or use the branch area. So I did wise detachment. So now I'm going to start mind fasting for my disciples for 5 days. And then after they get done this mind fasting for 5 days, they'll be able to mind fast on Indulgence. But I'm going to do that off map. And another big thing about that is that if you mind fast while on map on Indulgence, then your cultivator will end up cultivating and they'll reach that limit. So Shendao 4, even because I left them on Indulgence by mistake just now, they have reached the limit too, so they might actually get that anxious bottleneck. So let's see. Shendao 5, Shendao 6. So now these guys are mind fasting. So all of my guys are mind fasting for these 5 days. So let's see who reached the bottleneck too, because I just need to double check that, because I don't want them all to be getting this obsession. 2, 3, 4. So it's really just Shendao 4 that I have to watch out for. So Shendao 4 is probably going to build up this obsession, so they will need more mental state room. So if there's any way, I can't roll this back, can I? No, I can't. So I would just have to hope that I just have enough mental state to get through this breakthrough with Shendao 4, because they will be losing 30 mental state. So let's also equip these talismans on these guys as well. So these guys are also gaining mental state at this time too. So I'll do story talisman and then everlasting prosperity on all of my disciples. Divine comprehension, story, everlasting prosperity. just so that they'll be at like 700 and something mental state, but the max is 700, so they'll be well overcapped. So now Shendao 4 and Shendao 6, and I definitely skipped over Shendao 5, I think. No, Shendao 3 maybe. No. Okay, so it looks like everyone is good, but Shendao 4 will definitely need more mental state since they will get that anxious obsession. So I just need to just use some extra things. So I'll use that sachet for Shendao 4, and then I'll use a sacred nimbus plate. Sacred, and then you want to, for a sacred nimbus plate, you just want to have the one that has the highest quality. So I also have this for Shendao 4. Oh, what's happening? Some beasts are invading, and they just ran straight to my Shendao 4. Let's see. This guy is an enemy. Then I'll have this guy do this. Okay, so these guys are all dead, and Shendao 4 is mind fasting, and they have the biggest buff, thanks to them having an increase in mental state. Okay, they're just mind fasting anywhere. But yeah, these guys are pretty much just mind fasting for 5 days. And let me just make sure this guy, I'm a little bit anxious about their anxious thought chart. Let's see. 524 base mental state, and then they have an increase of 150 mental state. So they should be at least 600 and something thousand. Wrong disciple. Let's make sure that these guys die. Alright, so yeah, I just had my disciples mind fasting up until they finish their mind fasting. So I'm just gonna let my Shendao do a mind fast for 5 days, and then I'll come back to this gameplay after that. So yeah, I'll see you. Alright, I'm back, and all of my Shendao are pretty much almost done mind fasting, but I just wanted to point out something crazy that happened is that I actually was soul chanting all of the animals on my sect because I got like annoyed by them, and I actually made a mistake and soul chanted Abbot 1, and I was very scared that the 5 days of mind fasting wouldn't be up in time for them to basically decompose as a corpse right here, because when a disciple dies, they become a corpse, and then the corpse disappears in 3 days. So I was a little bit scared, but it looks like Shendao 6 is actually going to be done mind fasting, and they can revive my Abbot 1 in time. So I'm super happy about that, and just want to share that with you guys. So now that Shendao 6 is done mind fasting, I can use this resurrection spell on Abbot 1, who will die permanently in 285 seconds. So that's just like, that's so lucky. So now we're using resurrection on Abbot 1, and now Abbot 1 is back, and they're healthy again. So that's just so convenient. I love having Shendao disciples. But besides that, it looks like Shendao 4 is just mind fasting for a little bit longer, and then I should be able to go to Mount Coppertomb. So now that my disciples are done mind fasting, I can now put them on Indulgence so that they can begin this breakthrough. So I'll just do that, and it looks like Shendao 2 is not kept on their mental state, so I must have didn't double check them. So let's put them on story and everlasting prosperity as well, have them on Indulgence, and then I'll wait for Shendao 5 to go. Actually, I don't think I want them on Indulgence right now because they're not off the map, so we'll actually just wait, because then if they gain that one they gain that session, that would be annoying. So we're just waiting for Shendao 4 to finish their mind fasting. Let's see. Okay, so now that Shendao 4 has finished their mind fasting, I also went forward and made it so that Shendao 4 has to equip these items and also increase their mental state, just so that I can scrape up every piece of mental state. And I also want to equip the snake demon scale on the Shendao. And then besides that, there's also this item that I'm equipped called the Sarira that increases my Shendao's mental state and their divine realm capacity by a little bit. So right now they're able to control 10,000 more residents than the other Shendao. However, if you eat the Sarira, then it has an even stronger bonus in which the Sarira will make your Shendao disciple actually have an increased divinity, which is super bad. So you don't want to eat the Sarira pill. But it is good for like Shendao disciples to eat it because they will get a permanent 25 mental state bonus, but they don't have divinity, so they don't have to worry about overcapping their divinity or not being able to keep their divinity under 100. So you definitely don't want to eat it, but you do want to equip it to increase their mental state. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys how I do this breakthrough. So to do this breakthrough, you need to be on Indulgence while mind fasted. So I like to do this breakthrough off map, so I already explained to you guys how I would do it in the different ways, but I'm going to show you guys how I implement on doing this. So the first thing that I want to do is I would either calculate how long their breakthrough would take in order for them to get through it by taking their luck and then dividing 100 by that, and then I will also have to figure out their base luck to pretty much figure out how much their breakthrough would be after they eat the blessed pill. So what I'm getting at is that you want to eat the blessed pill at the last second so that you can instantly trigger the finalization of the breakthrough. And I do have Excel sheets that I can use to calculate where their luck would be if I gave them a 20% bonus, which is what the blessed pill does. However, I am pretty rich and I was able to buy 12, so I'm just going to eat them just to see for myself, because this method is like way more simple and includes way less math. So what I would recommend you do is pretty much get one blessed pill for your disciple and just having them eat it, just so that they can see what their breakthrough time would be, because the blessed pill only lasts for 1 day. So it will pretty much run out and your luck will be back down to what it was before. So these guys would now be having a 19-day breakthrough, and then a 15-day breakthrough, and then a 19-day breakthrough, and then an 18-day breakthrough, then 19.2 days breakthrough, and then a 15.2 day breakthrough. So now I know that once my disciples have reached a breakthrough progress of around 19 days, then I can eat the blessed pill, or I guess 18 days or 18.2 days since the blessed pill lasts for 1 day. So now I'm going to have my Shendao equip the blessed pills. I don't know why I selected for outer 1 to equip that, so I must have missed this Shendao. 5 and then 6. Okay, so they all have the equip command, and we will be consuming this while I'm at coppertomb. And then besides that, I want to remove all of these items from these guys so that I can make room for purity leaf, because a purity leaf will also reduce their mood lit by 25%, right? So then that gives me another day where I'm keeping my distress lower than it would naturally be. So it looks like I'll have to do this in order. So I have a fat stack of purity leaves right here. So, and then besides that, you can also equip the rabbit demon's foot to also increase your Shendao's mental state and all that. But I mean, I don't have that many. I have 3 rabbit demon's foot, so these will also be a big help. So it's really Shendao 1, and then let's see. Let's have Shendao 1 equip this one, and then I think it's Shendao, not Shendao 2. So let's have Shendao 3 equip this one, and then Shendao 4 already has like the mental state things because they're also dealing with building up in a session. So then I'll have Shendao 5 equip this. Let's see where their breakthrough time will go to. So now it's 18.7. So you know, I'm just looking for different ways to increase luck, and sadly I can't. It wouldn't be. I don't think it would be better for me to use the heavensent talisman. But let's see. This one right here increases my mental state by 37, so it will save me about. It will allow for me to accumulate mental state for like 9 to 10 days. So if the heavensent talisman doesn't reduce the breakthrough time by 10 days, then it wouldn't be worth it. So let me first remove the spiritual traveling talisman and then try to equip the heavensent talisman instead, just as a test for Shendao 5. So yeah, this breakthrough does require like a good amount of thinking. So if I remove this right here, and my breakthrough is now at 18.7 days, now it's at 15.1, so I only saved 3 days, whereas this one will allow me to lose mental state for way more than 3 days. So I do want to stick with the everlasting prosperity talisman. So anyways, back to the pure release. So Shendao 1, I'll have you equip and eat 3 pure release, or 4. Shendao 2, you can equip 5. Shendao 3, you can equip 3. Shendao 4 can't equip any. Oh, actually they can equip 1. And then Shendao 5 can equip 4. And then Shendao 6 can equip 5. So now that my disciples are mind fasted and they have all of their equips that they need to reduce their mood modifiers and their mental state debuffs, I just need to make sure that I remove their distress or their temporary mood buff. So let me use wise detachment, and then I'll send them to Mount Coppertomb. The main thing is you just want to make sure that they have as little moodless as possible, which is really hard off screen. But I do want to save these 20 days on screen, just to say that you can get this done quickly. But obviously if you want to do this faster, then you would just choose guys with better luck, which is always beneficial. So now I'm going to send my shendaos out to Mount Coppertomb. So now that my Shendao are in Mount Coppertomb, they'll begin to start the breakthrough. But I'll need to turn them on Indulgence and all of that. And the good thing about doing Indulgence off map is that they don't trigger cultivation. So only one of my guys will still have that anxious debuff. Alright, so time to do the final double checks. Let's put them all on Indulgence first, so that I do not lose time while I have my mind fasting buff for 5 days. Alright, so they're all on Indulgence and they all are or should be accumulating breakthrough experience. So let's see. Okay, so they need their humanity to also be higher than 60. So that requires for the divinity to be lower than 40. So I also have to wait until their divinity goes down as well for the breakthrough experience to start to accumulate. So this guy is going to struggle a little bit, for sure. So let's just wait a little bit for that to happen. So I should have used the divine concealment talisman as well, because the divine concealment talisman definitely would have saved me the amount of days that it takes for me to get them to less than 60 or greater than 60 humanity. But I mean, it's not that much that I'm losing out on. Let's see. Yeah, I think I lost like 1 or 2 days, nearly 2 days of mind fasting. So that is kind of a struggle, honestly. So since I entered Mount Coppertomb, I do have the opportunity to create a save scum. So let me just go forward and do that as well. So let's see. Where was I at? Okay. I'm off screen making saves. I think that we were on like 565 if I had to guess. And then we're on empty stage. We're on empty breakthrough. Alright, so let's see. This guy is almost there. They're about to lose their whole mind fasting debuff, so I kind of just ruined that. Okay, so now they're accumulating breakthrough ESP, and the whole point of me mind fasting for 5 days kind of was ruined because it pretty much took that amount of time for them to reduce their divinity. Oh, especially for this one, Shendao 4. I think it's the pill. Yeah, I completely messed up on that, so let me go back. Before, like, it was okay, but now that is just like horrible. So I'm gonna load up the stave and then bring these guys back from Mount Coppertomb, actually, just because I don't trust that I can keep their I can get through this breakthrough if I'm only getting a 1 day head start compared to me getting a 5 day head start. But I do think that is very useful for you guys to see, like, pretty much how to think through this breakthrough. So this is the save scum that I just created. So I'm going to have my disciples quickly come back to the sect, and they may have to mind fast for 5 more days, or maybe not, but I don't know. It depends on how many days they have left. And then I have to remove that Sarira because that 5 mental state is not worth that extra divinity. So I'm gonna have these guys come back to the sect. Okay, so they're back in the sect and they have 3.9 days of mind fasting. So just me doing the other stuff made me lose 1 day. So I mean, they still have 4 days compared to 5 days, so that's not too bad. But the main problem right now is the Sarira pill gave Shendao 4 a lot of divinity, so let's remove that. And it's also because they were on restraint, so I should have did mind fast on balance. Okay, I see where I went wrong. This guy was mind fast on restraint, so that means that their divinity was approaching 50% more. So I actually think I will do another mind fast on my disciples, and then I guess re-explain the breakthrough. Alright, so in this case I'm really only losing like 10 days compared to losing 20 days in game, so it's still not that bad. So I'm gonna have these guys mind fast for 5 days. Let's see. Let's try that again. And then at the end I'll be sure to do like a more clear, like full explanation of everything. So you definitely want to make sure that you mind fast on balance so that your base divinity stays lower. That's my timestamps. Alright, so now that I'm pretty much waiting again, I'll get through these 5 days and then I'll come back to you guys when this is done. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Alright, I'm back, and now my Shendao have finally gotten done on mind fasting for 5 days yet again. And I did the mind fast on a mix of restraint and balance because, as I mentioned multiple times before, balance will reduce your Shendao's leisure bar. So that was kind of almost stopping one of my Shendaos from doing their mind fast. So I made sure to do a mind fast on restrained, and then when it got to about 80% progress on a breakthrough, I switched them to balance to bring their divinity down to their base divinity instead of having them have 50% more divinity. So now all of my disciples are at their base divinity, and Shendao 1 has the highest base divinity because I did a resurrection miracle on that disciple as well, and then Shendao 6 also has high base divinity because I did a resurrection miracle for them too in order to save Abbot 1. So now that I'm at this point, I believe that I'm at a good point in order to go into Mount Coppertomb and then finish the rest of this breakthrough while on Indulgence. And then besides that, they have everything that they need, which are the purity leaves, and then they also have the blessed pills, which I will use to increase their mental state whenever I think that they're ready to do the breakthrough. So I'm going to quickly send these guys to Mount Coppertomb, unlike last time where I kind of like played around for a little bit too much, because I'm doing a 5-day breakthrough, or I did a 5-day mind fast, which honestly isn't that much, and I already wasted 10 days, so I probably should have just did a 10-day mind fast instead. But you know, as long as we get through the breakthrough, that's the only thing that matters. So now I'm going to send my Shendaos into Mount Coppertomb, and then wait for and then switch them to Indulgence instantly, and then wait for them to start to accumulate breakthrough progress. And so let's see, switching this guy to Indulgence, this guy to Indulgence, and then ideally you would just have enough mental state to just make it so that even while you're getting your divinity subtracted, or while you're getting your humanity to 60%, that even though you're indulging and you're losing mental state, you're still, you know, doing good. So these guys are now just indulging so that their divinity can decrease. And then once they get to under 40% divinity, they will begin the breakthrough. And you know, I pretty much just have to wait 19 days for most of these guys, and then 15 days for the other ones, if I remember correctly. So around like 18 days progress is when I'll start to pop the blessed pills, and then I'll just pop the purity leaves over time, as I need to reduce their distress depending on what seasons we get through. Because right now we're in spring, so they shouldn't really be suffering from any bad weather effects, but the next one is summer, so like maybe if I get like a complaint about the hot weather, then I'll pop a purity leaf to reduce their mood. But I'll just, you know, continue to watch their inclination. I'm not sure if I want to do a time skip for this one. I think it might be just be useful just to show how I would do the breakthrough overall. So we'll just see how this goes. But I do want to do a time skip, I guess, because the breakthrough is so long. So Shendao 1 is the guy with the most divinity, so I'm pretty much just looking at Shendao 1. So now that we're under 39, we're under 40% divinity, meaning we have over 60% humanity. The breakthrough has started. So now this guy just has a 22.5 breakthrough, and let me just make sure that everyone else has their breakthrough. The starting, yep. And Shendao 4 is taking a little bit of time, but they're 1.7 days in. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for this mind fasting debuff to go down, just to see how much their mental state will reduce over time, so that I can kind of guesstimate about how much the mental state overcap I should have. And again, right now I'm at 540, and then this guy is at 510 plus 150, so they only have 60 overcap. So I'm really worried about this guy, because they are overcap. Let's see, is there any way for me to just double check? So I know that they started off with 545, and they just got into session, so now they're at 515 mental state. And then this is probably adding like 2, and then this adds 5, and then this probably adds 2 as well. So these right here are plus 10 mental state, and then these 3 talismans are plus 160 or 150 mental state. So that's 160 bonus mental state, so they are at 550 plus 160, so they're at about 700 mental state. So, or more, something probably closer to like 710 mental state, so they have 110 overcap. So I just need to make sure that this guy specifically doesn't lose 110 mental state within the amount of days that it takes for them to do the breakthrough. So right now they are at a 21-day breakthrough, and they're 3 days in, so they only have 18 more days to go, and they're losing 2.2 mental state per day. So 2.2 times 18 is 39. So I think that I'll be more than safe to get through this breakthrough. And then besides that, they're not just on 21-day breakthrough, they are on like an 18-day breakthrough, because if I pop the pill at the correct time, then I'll have even more. I'll have 3 days to save, probably like, I want to say like 12 mental state, because the inclination will probably be around -4 by the time we get to 18 days. So now that the mind fasting buff has ended, I'm pretty much just watching these guys' distress. So now this guy has 102 distress, they're losing 2 mental state per day, and all of these guys are pretty much distressed. And this is the disadvantage of doing it off map, but we did come with some purity leaves, so let's pop a purity leaf right here with Shendao 1. So as you can see, now the inclination is -0.06 per day, which is nothing crazy. And then this is 2.35. If I eat this purity leaf, now it's at -0.05, because the purity leaf is reducing their distress. So it's making things like way more useful. So I do want to kind of save it for Shendao 4, Shendao 5, Shendao 6, and then the purity leaf expires after a day. So we pretty much have to wait a little bit to use it again. And then, so yeah, this is what I'll be doing. And then whenever Shendao 4 gets a drastic increase in inclination or a reduction of mental state over time, I'll pop the purity leaf for them. But yeah, I think this is the point where I'll pretty much go off screen, and then I'll come back when I'm nearing the end of the breakthrough for all of my disciples. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, my mic wasn't at the right position. I'm back, and my Shendao disciples are pretty much approaching the 18-day mark. And so I'm just going to start here and just continue to pop these purity leaves in order to get my Shendaos there as safely as possible. And right now they have like a big inclination of like -4 per day. So this is why you want to have a lot of overcap, just so that you can make sure that they don't reach that 600 so easily while off map. So right now Shendao 1 is at 15.5 days, and somehow this guy is at 17.9 days. So I guess it just depends on because Shendao 1 probably, oh, they had the higher divinity, so they got less than 40 divinity way later than the other guys. So now I believe that Shendao 2 is pretty much done the breakthrough, because they have 18.6 days, and Shendao 3 is at 18.2 days. However, we do remember that once we get to 19.2, we'll be able to pop the purity pill, so, or the blessed pill, sorry, not the purity pill. We were popping the purity leaf to reduce their inclination. So this guy's at 18.3. So if I just pop this, it's going to last for 1 day, and so I'll be able to get through that breakthrough. So as you can see, now it says 18.7 days, and that's going to last for a day, so that's going to be perfect. Then Shendao 4 is at 17.1, so I'll just pop this purity leaf to make it so that they're not losing as much mental state, and then continue to wait for that. And then this guy's at 18.9, so I think that I'm good to pop this blessed pill right here. So now they're 18.9 out of 18.7, so they are done with this breakthrough. And then Shendao 6 is in a similar boat. So I'm really just waiting for like Shendao 1 and Shendao 6, because they were the ones that used the resurrection miracle. Then of course Shendao 4 is also struggling a little bit, but you know, everything is going pretty well. So I'm just gonna put this on swift mode. So Shendao 3 is good, and now I can put them on restrained. So they're at 649 mental state. So I think if they're at 649, I don't know, there's really no way to tell. I think they were at 700, so I lost about like 60 mental state, I guess, if I had to guess. So let's just put them on, I guess I want them to be on balanced. So these guys are already at the cap of the mental state pretty much. So now let's see, Shendao 4, Shendao 2 and 3 are done, and then same with Shendao 5, so let's put him on balance as well. So we're waiting for 1, 6, and 4. who are all of the people who were pretty much struggling. Shendao 4 was struggling because they have an extra obsession over everyone else, which is why I say do not indulge while you're on map, and I made that mistake. And then Shendao 1 and Sis are struggling because they had 10 extra divinity because they used the resurrection miracle on some to save some people. So they're struggling for a good cause. So this guy's at 17.2. So I think I want to pop this prairie leaf right here again, so that they can definitely last for another day. And then Shendao 6 right here is pretty much good. I'm just going to pop this purity leaf just for good measure. Let's see where Shendao 1, 17.7. Then Shendao 4, this is the one that's iffy. They're at 19.1 days, so I believe if I consume this blessed pill, then we were able to automatically complete that, so that's perfect. And now Shendao 6 is done, and now we're just waiting for Shendao 1. So Shendao 1 is at 18.3 days. So now if I just pop this blessed pill right here, then we're at 18.5 out of 18.7 days. So now the breakthrough is almost complete. So I was able to save myself time in real life, and you know, the possibility of them going under 600 mental state. So now that that's done, all of my Shendao disciples are now on the spirit stage, which is pretty much the last, well, it is the final mental state stage for Shendao. So they're pretty much maxed out. So let's have them return to sect, because I need to see what their mental state actually is, because if you do things off map, then it will gain mental state and lose mental state, but when they come back to map, all of that will revert. So I just want to see what their full mental state is right now. So let's see. Okay, so this is their mental state with the talismans equipped. So with the talismans equipped, Shendao 1 has a mental state of 696, which is good. And then without the talismans, they have a mental state of 582, or even less than that. So right now, my Shendao disciples have pretty much reached the final cultivation stage, and now that they have between 600 and 700 mental state, there's nowhere to go, and now they can control 2 million divine resonance. So this is the part where I would focus on the other things that Shendao can do, which I'll be able to show later on. But besides that, these guys, they also, let's see, they're also on they also have 2 obsessions, so they are definitely at naturally over 600 mental state, because they have 544, but then they have 2 obsessions that are active right now. So I think in the next video I'm going to show you, in the next video I'm going to show you guys what to do once you have your Shendaos at max mental state. But off screen I'm gonna, or maybe not off screen, I don't know, it just depends on how I feel, but quote unquote off screen, I'm gonna try to use the sect leader and the branch leader debuff in order to increase their base mental state to be 700, so that I don't have to worry about needing to equip mental state talismans in order to use them, because that's the dream, if you can just use the Shendao and then ideally just use the divine concealment talisman, so that you make sure that their divinity never goes past 98%. And then you also use a dark armor talisman because it just gives good barrier power, and then you would just use the sacred sword talisman because that increases your base artifact power, and it also increases your base artifact max chi, which is pretty bad for Shendao disciples. But Shendao disciples do not care about artifact max chi because their chi recovery is already super duper high. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you had an easy time following along, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, or I hope you learned something, and I hope you were entertained by seeing me learn how to do this mental state breakthrough pretty much in the fastest way, but probably like in the middle tier in terms of difficulty. And if you were just having trouble or this video stressed you out, then I would recommend you just do the method where you just mine fast for S amount of days, or have them sit in the branch cultivation area instead of what I did. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.